Welcome back to another Overwatch Coach VOD review. Today we've got a Silver 1 Zenyatta on, what map is this? Midtown. So, getting into the introduction, I think I played fairly well, but not perfectly. I got a career best in damage amplified in this game. Somewhere in the middle, I think my aim dropped off, but I think I brought it back in the end. I think I probably held on to Transcendence longer than I needed to. I have a tendency to hold it until something like an enemy soldier ult or Genji ult. My teammates were not a great help. I think the DPS were out of position pretty often. That said, I know if I want to climb, I'll have to carry that too. Thanks so much for the help. This would be my first VOD review, so any and all feedback are welcome. So, the only thing in particular I would like to address in your intro is the Transcendence usage. Transcendence normally isn't something to just be spitting out when you get it. It's worth saving to counter an ultimate. You know, and you just listed two great ones that are great for countering with Transcendence. Genji and Soldier are great for that. Sigma can be another one, as we see. If your team's super low in the Moira ults, that could be another good one. I mean, there's some that aren't worth transcendencing. Cassidy High Noons, for example, don't make a lot of sense. Junkrat tires. You know, sometimes it's very situational, but normally what you would like to do is pop it off to counter an offensive ult. One that's a little more on the oppressive side, so a Nano Blade. That's a great one for it. So I wouldn't really be beating yourself up too much if you're holding a Zenyatta ultimate. I just realized I'm a little too far forward. Alright, so let's dig into the team comp here. So, considering we're on defense, it's a pretty decent team comp, to be frank. In terms of other things you could potentially be playing, Ana, you don't know it yet, but I would initially say Kiriko, but then there's nothing really to cleanse, so Kiriko's probably not going to be too well worth it. So I'll say Ana or Lucio as two other hero choices that could potentially be beneficial in this team comp. But generally speaking, though, I actually like what you guys are rolling out with here. So I'm not saying don't play Zen. I'm just giving you other ideas for your other things that could potentially work. But I don't actually hate Zen here. I totally think this team comp as a whole could work, because Baptiste works well with Sigma as long as you're okay with healing Sigma. And, you know, the only thing that's weird about healing Sigma with Baptiste is a lot of Baptistes like to aim more at the ground and go for the splash healing. And with Sigma levitating off of the ground, he can be a little trickier to hit. But Sigma can work well with a well-placed Baptiste window, so that's why they typically go well together. It just takes a little getting used to with the healing of Sigma versus, like, say, an Orisa or a Roadhog or something like that. But yeah, I like this team comp for the most part. Mercy actually, too, could work well here, now that I think about it. But yeah, there's a few healers that could work, but Zen's definitely one of them, too. So let's dig into this and see what we got.
The barrier appears.
So yeah, Zen is good for healing out of position teammates or when your team's pretty spread out. So I know you mentioned that too in your intro. I'm not sure where the Sim has her sentry set up. I played a little DPS over the weekend, and I got my DPS up to Plat 5. That's after 2 seasons of DK and me probably playing like 10 games of DPS last season up until this weekend. And I did 2 rounds of placements So I got 14 wins, and it put me up to Plat 5. I played a lot of Sim. I mentioned in a previous VOD review, I Sim one-tricked back in Overwatch 1 for a few seasons. One place I like seeing these turrets would be like right here. Or even like here. I had a lot of nice plays there. I don't know where this Sim put her sentries. I just heard one go down.
Barrier is splintering. Barrier
Oh, I see where she put them. Sorry, I got sidetracked. So I'd probably like to see you playing a little bit further back. Like, kind of where you're at now is alright, but the problem I have with this spot is it's easy to be sniped at. Although they're not really running any snipers, but when you play a corner... So let's go to their view for a second and just pretend they've got a sniper. But when they play a corner, so like you playing at the edge of the fire truck, you're easy to snipe. If they were running Hanzo, Widow, Soldier, and with a railgun. Because all they got to do is watch the end of that fire truck. And you going back and forth is kind of irrelevant. Because if you back off... but then pop in, all they're going to do is wait for you to pop in and then boom, you're headshotted. So what I would suggest is playing a little bit more out over here and then backing off over here. And this would give you a little bit more room to work with. And then also you could be a little bit more unpredictable with your cutting in and out. So you could go this way, hide here. You could get some shots this way, or you could go back over here, hide over here. If I'm playing Zen, I would probably be playing back over this way more. I find Zen dies so easily that I'm terrified to show myself. So I'm going to try to play it a little bit more on the safer side. I probably would have peeked initially over here and maybe gotten a couple charge shots off. But then once I've gotten maybe like 2-3 volleys of that off, I'm going to be playing more over here, maybe on high ground, or maybe back over in this vicinity. I tend to play a very passive Zen because I find that he dies super easily. You probably can get away with this more on the lower ranks, and considering this is Silver 1, you probably can get away with this a little bit more. So if I'm sitting out over here, what I'm probably looking to do is burning the Reinhardt shield, burning that down, getting a Discord orb off on either Rhine or a support, and then calling that out. So if you're not already used to calling out your Discords, either do that or ping them, and then just tell the team that you're going to ping your Discords. And that could be typed if you don't want to talk, because I know not everybody's comfortable talking on a microphone, but... So yeah, okay, good. That you see the flanking Junkrat, you get away. Who's your healing orb been on this whole time? Your healing orb's not on anybody, so you gotta make sure that your healing orb stays out. Yeah, so now you're kind of bouncing the healing orb around. Get it on your BAP. Always make sure that healing orb's out on somebody. Sometimes it can get easy to lose track of, okay, it's on somebody who's 100% health and you've got some banged up teammates, but if you play a lot of Zen, that should come easier in time. Good dodging. Usually I find people that don't play a lot of Zen lose track of their orbs, like, okay, their Discord orb's on somebody that can't really get hit, or it falls off. Nice shot on the Mercy. Nice shot on the Genji, too.
Barrier initialized. I release your suffering.
Yeah, I don't like those sim turrets. All Ryan's got to do is walk up to those and he can just swing and kill all three of those easily. So I'm going to be silently judging your, well, maybe not so silently judging your Symmetra while I watch this. Okay, so they're going high ground. Here's the thing I don't like about this. Nobody saw this coming. I mean, it's kind of, I guess it gets a little on the obvious side because it's like, okay, you're not seeing them, or you kind of see them walk over there and now they're finally making their way through. But why you guys just let them walk through that subway car without contesting that is beyond me. I find this is something that I don't think is very well talked about, but I think if you play support, you should kind of have a pinging scouting type role to you. And it would have been nice if the Baptiste jumped up there and kind of kept an eye on the train car and started pinging stuff, getting people up there. I play a lot of Lucio, so it's a little easier on Lucio. I've been playing a lot of Kiriko this past 2 weekends really. And she's got a lot of mobility too. So I tend to take like a scouting role when I play support, and I start pinging people. If I identify a hard carry or if I see that they're going a particular direction, I try to make use of my pings. So this isn't necessarily on you because you're Zenyatta, you're pretty immobile, and you've been playing kind of the opposite side of this. But like the BAP could have jumped up there and kept an eye on this. I mean, you could have been playing high ground, just kind of keeping an eye on it too. But ultimately, it would have been nice to have seen somebody on your team watching for this and kind of calling this out beforehand. And then on top of that, this sim wall is too far forward. She should have, I would have liked to have seen it like right there, personally. But yeah, it would have been nice to have seen this called out.
Experience tranquility.
Okay, so forgot to, okay. So the Rhine jumps in here. So right here, before the trance, kick the Rhine back and then trance if you're gonna trance here. I personally, like, I'm only saying do the kick if you're gonna actually commit to doing the trance, but you could have made a little bit of space for the Sigma before doing the trance. I personally would have just backed off through the healing orb on Sigma, through the Discord orb on the Rhine, start wailing away on the Rhine and backing off. Because I personally tend to only do trances to contest other ultimates, or in team fights where my team is low and we need to win a particular team fight to try to get like momentum back or something like that. But I probably don't trance this until they start committing ultimates of their own. Okay, so this kind of works out because frankly, I don't know why the Rhine does hammer down while you're already like halfway into a trance. That's just not intelligent. Because you healed that whole thing, but that was on the Rhine, not something you did. So that was a nice shot on the Mercy, but yeah, if you could have held trance for when the soldier ulted, you wouldn't have died. Although that was kind of a bad visor, but as you climb up in ranks,
Repetition is the path.
these ultimates aren't going to be so poorly timed from the enemy side of things. So like, they're not going to hammer down when you're already trancing. He's going to hold it, wait till your trance is up, and then do it if there's an opening for it, or he'll just hold it. And then the soldier wasting his also kind of bails out your little preemptive trance. Not sure why your Baptiste isn't using his shift ability. I like the healing orb movement. You're staying toward the back. You're staying out of harm's way.
I am with you, my friend.
10 seconds.
Kick, 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 kick. There you go, nice. Keep the healing orb moving. So, okay, right there. I'm gonna give you bad advice right here. You're in a silver lobby. There's a Mercy in the air. Do you think your team is good enough to shoot a flying Mercy out of the air? Or that they're even looking at that Mercy in the air? In a rank like this, probably not. And this is why it's bad advice, because in a higher level game, that probably would have been the right thing to do. Probably. There's variables to this, but I'll say probably. But in a silver game with a Mercy flying, you're asking a lot of getting value on that Discord orb. I probably just keep it on the tank here. Because, yeah, no one's looking at her. So that Discord orb is sitting on a target that isn't being looked at whatsoever. Meanwhile, that Ryan is low, but he's being double pocketed. But the fact that he's low, if he would have had that Discord orb on him, he might be dead right now. Might be. Either that or you throw it on the Moira. Either one of those options I'd be okay with, but the Mercy is the hardest one to hit there and unlikely to die until the rest of the team dies. Yeah, your aim just went all over the place there. So this goes back to what I was saying before, holding trance and countering an ultimate. Now, if this were me, I probably would have been holding it, and then I probably would have gotten hammer downed, because I probably would have gotten pretty aggressive on that Reinhardt when he was low. And it might have been to my own detriment. So kudos to you for being patient enough to letting your team trying to deal with the Rhine, even though the Discord orb was on the wrong target. However, it ended up not working out, and now you kind of wasted trance, and he got a good value hammer down, and there's nothing you can do about it now, and they just won the fight. So I'd like to say if that Discord orb were placed differently, that whole fight would have went differently, but it's still hard to say because he would have been double pocketed, and if you would have gotten it on the Moira, she could have potentially hid behind the shield.
Stop the payload.
I've got you in my sights. On my way.
What is this soldier ulting? Yeah, you can't break those barriers. I don't know why, but you can't. I'm not really noticing you charging up your right clicks at all. I'm not really sure why you don't do that. And I'm not suggesting only doing that. There's a balance, but okay, you're not moving your healing orb at all. I don't even think your healing orb is out until right there. Yeah, that was not a fight to pick. So that whole segment there, your healing orb basically wasn't out for about like 90% of that fight. And then by the time you got it out, it was too little too late anyway. And then on top of that, now you're trying to pick a fight with an ulting Moira. You should have tried to just escape. Now she probably follows you, but at least make an effort to try to escape, because that's not a fight you're gonna win unless you land headshots. I mean, that would have been the one caveat there. you land a bunch of headshots or something, but yeah, your Sigma needs to try to use that window, but that window was wishful thinking at best. But yeah, your team really fumbled the ball on the second point here. So let's just quickly, I'm just gonna use here as an example. So what the two spots that I like to see being held is right after you give up the point, you could play up here and try holding these 3 chokes if your team's pretty good and pretty aggressive and has a team comp suitable for it. If not, if they're more long range team comp, then what I like to see is your team holding up here until they get to about underneath you, about right in this vicinity. When they get to there, then drop down into here and fight them when they're in the tunnel. That's how I usually like to see this, and how I usually see this area of the map played out. I don't usually see people holding down here. I'm not going to say I've never seen it, but it's not the typical thing to do. And definitely not with this type of team comp. Like if you still were running sim, I could see it, because there's like these little areas here you can put sim turrets, and they're harder to get, and you can kind of set up little death traps in here and stuff like that. But they swapped off the sim, and this just felt like a big cluster. Kind of felt like your team didn't really know what they were doing, and then it just kind of started wasting ultimates, and one thing led to another, and your team just snowballed. But yeah, the one thing I was gonna say though is you're not charging up right-click volleys. See, now, alright, let me finish my first thought and then we'll talk about this trance you just did. So the first thing I want to say is you're rarely charging right-click volleys. Of course, I pause it at a time where you're actually charging one up, but you haven't really been doing that. And there's a fine line to charging up a right-click volley versus just left-clicking. I feel like when I play Zen, I almost do the right-clicking to a fault, and I do it too much. And that's why I say there's a fine line to it. There's a balance between the two that gets you at a quality Zenyatta play style, but you're leaning way too far into the left click range. Because what I would like to see is, remember when I was talking about firing at corners, like when you were playing by the fire truck, and I said like a sniper would pick you off easily? You can do the same thing that a sniper does with a right click volley. If you shoot it at a corner, so say like the corner you're staring at, like you're actually kind of doing what I'm talking about right here. But the thing is that this is like the first time all around that you've done this, is that you hold right click, you charge up somewhere between 3 to 5 shots, and then you pre-fire it at a corner. And say like the Torb, all of a sudden he peaks right at the time that you do it. If you aim that at a headshot level, you get a pick, and you're almost like a pseudo sniper at that point. And that's why I say you can do this to a fault though, because say you charge up a few volleys, maybe you even get a pick once in a while. They start at a higher level anyway. I don't know about these ranks, but at a higher level, they'll start watching for that and playing more carefully or playing differently, and they won't play around those corners. But it's still something you got to do to make them think and not feel so confident peeking around a corner and whatnot. So if you're doing it here, great. Do more of that, but still keep a balance of your left clicking. It's something that I think you're just going to have to kind of feel out as time goes on. And then going to my next point, that trance that you did, I like that you used it for the soldier visor. However, it felt early because I didn't even see the soldier when you trans, so you did it based off of an audio cue, which can sometimes be okay, but when he did it, your whole team was at 100% health, and they were all relatively close to you. So wait for the soldier to show himself and actually throw a few shots off and then trance, because I don't know if you noticed, but the visor goes longer than the trance. So give it, if you can afford it, give it a second or two before you just pop trance. Now there's a caveat to that, because like if your team is kind of low and then he pops visor, well then you just got to match it at that point and then just, you know, soak up as much damage as you can. But in a case like this, you could have held it for a bit, and considering how bad that visor ended up being on top of the previous ones we've seen from him, you probably didn't even need to visor it. But this is more of an example of like the exception to the rule, because this soldier has just been awful with his ultimates so far. As you go higher, that's not going to be the case. So, you know, this is an example too of like lower rank games producing bad habits, because you've seen this soldier now like waste so many ultimates, and it's like, well, I don't need the trans soldier ults now. But then as you go higher up, the soldier ults will be of better quality, and then you'll start, you know, seeing what a good soldier is actually capable of. This one here is not really doing anything. Keep that healing orb moving around. Yeah, getting it on Bastion's a good idea here, because Bastion's going to your intro saying like how your DPS weren't really helping you because of poor positioning. That Bastion was too far forward. All you can do in a case like that, try to discord orb whatever he's shooting at and keep the healing orb on him, and then also try to communicate with the guy and tell him to fall back. Yeah, healing orb should be on the squishy characters more than the tank. Let the Baptiste worry about the tank more so. Obviously, if the squishies are full health, then you can help out with the tank healing, but I'd like to see that healing orb more on your DPS and your healer before throwing it on the tank. But yeah, I see what you're saying though. Your DPS are kind of feeding a bit.
Score 0-3. Switching sides. Initiating match.
Let's skip ahead here. Alright, so looking at team comp, so the healing got a little lower. Kiriko and Zen can still work. I'm not really sure why they're going Kiriko though. They're still not running anything that can be cleansed, like at all. There's nothing to be cleansed here. So I don't really like the Kiriko pick. I'm okay with Zen. I would keep the healing orb on the Echo primarily. Let Kiriko worry about the rest of these guys. However, yeah, I'm just not feeling the Kiriko pick. I don't really like the Junkrat pick either. But as far as Zen goes, I don't mind it. This map is a fairly long-ranged one, so as long as you're able to keep decent sight lines and be able to produce some decent shots and you're moving the healing orb around, I think Zen can potentially work here.
Enemy turret ahead.
The enemy team is playing extremely aggressive here. You'd like to see this punished, but This might be one of those situations too where you're being DPS stiff to some extent. Or maybe it's a tank diff. I haven't really been watching the kill feed a lot to see like who's been killing what, but wow, the soldier's got his ult already? Okay, that's a good charge right click, but you're moving up to front line. Watch out for that. You backed off, that's good. Yeah, that Kiriko needed to heal the Bastion there. I think you did the right thing by healing orbing the Echo there. Okay, so right there, where's my mouse? Back up. So I think right there, considering there was an ult down here, playing over in this vicinity and trying to get shots that way might have gotten you a better result. You're playing a little too far back, in my opinion. Because right over there is safe from the lava. You probably could have pressured them a little bit more over there. Because like right there, you're not shooting at anything, right? And then you reload when you're at 16 to 20. And then you canceled your reload anyway. But yeah, you didn't really get anything off of that positioning. I feel like you're in a situation right now where you gotta try to go for a pick and be a little bit more on the aggressive side because your team's just not making anything happen on their own here. And that's why I advocate that positioning. If your team were doing a little bit better on getting picks, then playing where you were might have been the better place. But it's kind of feeling like they're struggling here. And playing off to the left and a little like kind of further off and to the left, but a little bit more on the forward side might have netted you a pick and maybe would have allowed your team to push in there. Fortunate, but at least you didn't die, so you know you can reset and you're waiting for your team to respawn and all that. So that part is good. So one case here, and I know I was saying like I typically use trance to counter things. All the ultimates got used and you still got it. So one thing I'd be looking at here is, okay, I'll spit the healing orb out on somebody. I'll get a Discord orb out on probably the tank, maybe a support, but probably the tank. And then I might try to initiate with trance to see if I could spike something out that way. That would be the caveat to my normal rule, just to try to make something happen here. But now that the Bastion died, you're either going to have to wait or go in 4 versus 5. Probably just best to wait. Oh, what a diva bomb. 3 kills and a turret, and then on top of that she killed, wow.
Enemy turret destroyed. Backup requested at the objective. Hello.
Heal your diva.
Hi.
Actually, Mercy should be doing it. She needs the ult charge. So one thing I will say though is Mercy Zen cannot keep a diva going as aggressive as they need to be. I don't really like the Mercy pick, but ultimately this is a bad support comp for the team that you're rolling with right now. I'm not sure why you didn't. So right there, that's I don't know why you didn't throw your healing orb on the Bastion. You're covering him to some extent, but the most important part of covering him would have been healing that. Because the Torb can only peek this so much because he knows that you're looking at him. But your aim isn't good enough to really force him back. But your healing orb would have soaked up some of the damage coming to the Bastion and kept his armor up. I don't know why you didn't heal orb that. It's like the play is right there and you're looking right at it, but yet you don't do it. The other thing is the Echo needed the healing orb too, and I don't think the healing orb was on anybody. Or was it? It's on Echo, it's on... Okay, never mind, it was on the Echo. Alright. Yeah, I still would have moved it to the Bastion there though. But... This is a good example here though of why I'm not a big fan of Zen. Zen just does not heal enough. In the state of Overwatch 2, he just doesn't heal enough. You could have potentially popped Trance there, but I don't know if that would have been worth it either. Let's watch this once more here. Let's watch this, but not from your point of view once. Let's just watch it from out here. Would popping Trance have been a good play here? I mean, you would have had to have popped it right here. Like right there. That's basically where you would have to pop it. Where are you? Yeah, you're in the position to do it. I don't know if that's actually worth it though. I think the main reason why I say it's not worth it, your spawn is right there. Like if you die, you're not coming back very far. So the reason why I'm kind of overanalyzing this is because you mentioned in your intro about holding Trance so long. I don't know. I could see trancing this, but ultimately it's like your spawn's right there. If they die, well, it's not like they've got like a mile they gotta go walking back to, you know? And you've got a lot of time on the clock at the moment too. So yeah, you're not playing far back enough if you're just waiting for them to spawn. You'd want to get like behind the fire truck or even into that room that's behind you. I'm not really sure why they didn't come out and just come and get you or the Mercy. You were very pickable there. Even though you were kind of playing that pull and it worked out, but... So, right here, this I probably... not here. If this were me, I'd probably be looking to trance this fight, though. And I probably would have popped it right here. If this is me playing in your shoes, I probably pop Trance right there. To keep that Bastion alive, your Echo's low. This is a fight now. You're kind of starting to get into that territory of, okay, we need to start winning a fight. Your team's doing a good job of staying alive, though.
Duplicating mercy.
Yeah, I'll give credit to your team on this one. For as much as they were feeding on defense, they did a good job of staying alive here. Because I honestly thought they would have needed Trance, or that fight would have started going a little south. But they stayed alive. It's also kind of weird to me that they don't really seem to be focusing on you much. When I play Zen, I'm dying all the time on Zen because I feel like I get focused the second they see me. But yet with you, you're just kind of going all over the place and they're barely paying attention to you, which is crazy to me. This could be a great opportunity to trans. Countering Torb ult can sometimes be worth it. See, you got your Bastion. And now they're starting to push up. This could easily get stalled out here. I would heal your Echo. Heal your Echo, let the Mercy heal the D.Va. See, this is what I'm talking about, though. Zen Mercy isn't enough for D.Va. It just isn't. D.Va requires more heals than that. If you play D.Va and you've got a Zen on your team, unless you've got like an Ana or a BAP that's just ready to pocket you, or Moira to some extent, if you're not gonna go too far away, you're asking a lot from these two healers here to heal that. It's gonna be difficult because the Mercy, he probably went Mercy to heal Echo and pocket Echo and fly around with Echo, but this D.Va's just gonna. D.Va is such a resource hog to supports. It just requires a big commitment from the support side of things to keep a D.Va going and keep a D.Va aggressive. And that's why I don't like this healing comp here. I don't hate the D.Va pick, but I hate the supports with it. So one of the two's gotta give here.
We are outnumbered. Be cautious. Your spirits.
Fast forward a bit.
Let us push the
Yeah, your aim here is kind of all over the place.
tranquility.
So, okay, the reason I don't like this ultimate is because... Oh, D.Va just popped ult. Okay, so... The reason I don't like this ultimate is D.Va Defense Matrix could have eaten or ate a lot of that soldier ult. However, she just popped her ultimate, so I guess it'll work out. Oh, this is going to be a good D.Va bomb again. Yeah, okay. I was actually expecting a little bit more than that, but it's still good. Okay, good kill.
Is an admirable virtue.
So,
Good intention.
yeah, I think you're following a rule of thumb with Zenyatta almost to a fault. You know, you're holding your trance to counter soldier ult, and against a better soldier, I think that's a wise decision, but I don't think you're reading the game very well. This soldier's not very good, and it's not worth committing your ultimate to countering a poorly timed ultimate. Yeah, you got a little too focused on shooting Mercy. Mercy's a hard target to get, and I'll give you credit for at least trying to get the Mercy, but
It takes
when she's able to fly into the air,
1,000 times.
I wouldn't worry as much on her and kind of make sure you're staying safe and out of harm's way from the Junkrat. Now, nice thing is you guys capped the point like right as you died, so you basically spawned right back into the fray of things again. But Junkrat there would have been an easy kill for you to duel with had you have been a little bit more aware of it. Wow, D.Va got another bomb. She just bombed. She must be feeding off of that Roadhog.
60 seconds remaining.
Harmony follows good.
I like that your Echo grabbed Roadhog, but you played it a little on the passive side. Yeah, so it's okay. I'm starting to get what you're doing with your trances. You hear the soldier ult and then you just trance. But like I said, oh, nice kills there. But like I said before, this soldier's not. I don't think he's worth committing to. See, what you did there, I wish you would do more of that. Where you charge up a right click and you pre-fire it at a corner that they're likely to pop around. More of that, I think, added to your game style, I think would help you.
Ready for battle.
Okay, so so the only thing that I like differently about your current team comp is at least your DPS are self-healing a bit now, so that will alleviate some of the support pressure. However, I don't really like Reaper on attack on this map. I suppose a good Reaper could make it work, but generally speaking, this is a little bit more on the longer range side of things, so I'm not a big fan of that pick. And I'm still not a fan of Zen Mercy healing D.Va, even with a Mei and a Reaper self-healing. I'd probably like to see the Reaper maybe go Soldier, if we're talking about self-healing.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Enemy seen.
Yeah, like here, you're basically going to have to keep your healing orb on the D.Va the whole time. Normally, I would say keep it on a squishy target, but... Okay, good. I was about to say, that soldier needs to die. I don't know what the hell he's doing that far out.
Got to, got to.
30 seconds remaining.
What are you guys doing? Are you guys playing Overwatch?
Your DPS are moved up way too much there. They're completely oblivious to what's happening.
Right the head.
10 seconds.
Somebody's got to try to touch here. A healing orb on the Tracer would have been the play, but it's asking a lot and probably wouldn't have happened. But yeah, I would have liked to have seen that. Well, first of all, when they played so far up, it would have been nice to try to communicate to the DPS to play back and clear out the spawn and then move up as a team. But then number two, like getting that healing orb on somebody there, preferably Tracer, would have been nice. But that felt like a very unorganized cluster.
Shed the weight of your doubts, and your mind will become clear.
2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend
But
objective.
yeah, you got to keep that healing orb moving around.
60 seconds.
Nice kill. Get that Discord orb on somebody.
Damn it. Such a lack of awareness.
Keep the healing orb moving around. You got somebody hurt. There you go.
Seconds remaining.
Keep pushing them back.
Oh, you got lucky. You didn't get pinned there. Good. Finished him off. This is gonna be a draw. Interesting. At least you didn't lose it.
10
Unless
seconds.
something really bad happens here. But nah, they're not in a position to touch. Or are they? Nope, they're not. I'm not sure why that Sombra wasn't able to hack a health pack and heal herself there. Alright, so number one, reading the game. To trance. My N got away from me there. And what I mean by that is trancing soldier ults normally can be a good play. That soldier probably not so much worth it, especially if you've got a D.Va that can defense matrix that ult to some degree. There were some other moments you might have been able to trance instead. That's basically what I mean on that. 2 right clicks, charge up some right clicks pre-firing at corners. You did it a little bit, and you saw some success from doing it. Do a little bit more of that. Just don't get too overboard with it. Like that's one of my bad habits on Zen. I get too overboard on right clicking, but I do feel like you need to add a little bit more of that to your current game style. 3, move, heal orb around. At times you were bouncing the healing orb around like you should and like what I would like to see. And then there's other times where you either didn't even have it out at all, or it got stuck on one person, and then you got a little too hyper focused on trying to do damage or maybe moving the Discord orb around. But yeah, the same with the healing orb. Just make sure the Discord orb's moving around. Put it on targets that are a little bit more susceptible to being shot at. And then number 4, call out Discord. Maybe you were calling it out in chat and we can't hear that. If that's kind of why I'm putting it at 0.4, because maybe you're on a microphone calming that to people. That part I can't tell. I prefer pinging Discord orbs. I'll talk in my games, but I'm not a big guy of like Discord's on Mercy, Discord's on Rhine, Discord's on this, Discord. Like that gets exhausting to me. I'm not a big. I'll talk, but I'm not gonna shot call every Discord orb I throw out there. But what I am willing to do now that we have this pinging system is I am totally willing to ping every Discord that goes out, or at least the majority of them. So I would like to see a little bit more of that from you as well. So get in the habit of pinging some of that stuff, and I think these steps here will elevate your game to another level on Zen. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.